Good morning from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. It's 9:44 a.m. on the 7th of May 2024, Wednesday. Had to think for a moment. So I thought I would continue reading W.B. William Butler Yeats. There he is there. The artist is a young man, younger-ish man, although he probably looks like late 30s, early 40s there, if truth be known. Maybe not, maybe he is younger. It's hard to tell, isn't it? Mid-30s. Anyway, I thought I'd continue reading his quite fabulous poetry. So let me just, there's always something wrong when I get on my YouTube channel. There's always some little twerk or tweak or irritation or slight annoyance or something. Today it's my glasses. Right, that's better. I can see a little bit better now, people of Earth. It's a glorious morning. I've stripped my bed sheets finally. I'm getting a bit grotty, people of Earth. I haven't wanted to do anything much around the house. It's distracted by jewellery and reading stories, living in Titania's realm. So I had to get down to the nitty gritty and pull my bedding apart, and I've got a load of washing in the machine. I've got my 2 doonas out on the line. I need to buy a new feather doona really, but anyway, they're out airing in the sun. Kookaburra was sitting on the hills, always looking at me like this, because he wasn't too keen on me throwing the doonas on the line, sharing that sacred space up on the hills voice, which it's for me, not for him, you understand. And then he was a bit confused by, he could hear all the feathers ruffling inside the feather doona, and I was like, yeah, that's a bit chilly. Thousands of dead birds' feathers, and he's probably thinking, what is in that? Anyway, he stayed there long enough for me to hang out the first feather doona, and then he watched me hang out the second polyester filled doona, and he just stared at me like this, and then he flew away. I'm having a very strange relationship with this bird, but I see him as a kind of a good luck charm, and a wise one, and a protector, and so we have a real relationship. Oh, and yesterday was cute. I was sitting at my jeweller's bench in the morning. I sat back down, was all excited about my new shot plate, and making little Pegasus embellishments that I'm going to solder onto my cuff when I get the fine silver sheet that I've ordered. I'm going to try and make another bezel for it and solder it down, and then on the ends I'm going to solder on these 2 little Pegasus embellishments. I'm all excited about that. Well, I can do it. It's the bezel that's the problem. It's the bezel that I've had troubles with, but I can do the other part, but there's no point having it if I can't get the bezel down. But I will do it. I will work at it until it's done by the gods. And so I got all very excited about that. So I went out. I used my tree stump that I bought about, nearly 2 years ago now. Yeah, it would be about a year and a half, 2 years. Trying to remember. Anyway, I finally used it yesterday for stamping on, using the special punch I bought, which cost me a lot of money with postage, by the gods. $54 to post it from England. It's a fucking rip-off, isn't it? But anyway, it hurt a lot. But anyway, I was so excited when it arrived yesterday. I went straight out and punched on the shot plate and on my steel plate on my tree trunk, my silky oak trunk, and it worked very well. But then I got over enthusiastic and forgot to use the punch and use the hammer and smash the embellishment and then thinned out the silver too much. I was like, fuck, another fail. But then I said to myself, oh, no, Tanya, it's not another fail, because you need to make more sterling silver balls big enough to go on that Pegasus shot plate anyway, and you'll just melt it down and do it again. So when I came back from my hairdresser yesterday, I went straight into my studio and melted silver balls and spent about an hour or two doing that, and I was so happy in my element. And then around about 6 p.m. I went and used the proper equipment, the new punch I bought. I don't know why I forgot to use it momentarily. It was odd. It's like something just sabotages me, it's odd. But anyway, I used that and I punched out another Pegasus, and then I got the other punch that has the Pegasus facing the opposite direction. I punched out that one, so I've got two facing each other or facing apart, however I decide to solder them on. And it's all very exciting, but I've got to clean them up today and file the edges and shape them, and might even solder them on today so they're all ready when the bezel comes. All I'll have to focus on then is the bezel. So, and if I can't do it, I'm like 90% completed the task. I might have to pay a professional jeweler to solder the bezel off for me, and then I'll do the rest. But that's cheating and getting out, slipping, sliding, third base, isn't it? No, I will have to solder that bezel on myself, but I'm just a bit nervous because 8 fails already on that. It's odd that it kept failing, but I think the reason was the fine silver I had was only 0.3 thickness, and it was just too fine, just too easy to melt. And I've got to get the torch temperature right. It might have been too hot, and there might be all other factors why it kept failing, but I'll have to work it out. I'll have to work it out, people of Earth. Otherwise, I've wasted large sums of money over the years on silversmithing, and if it goes nowhere, then I really will be bloody devastated. But I'm being hard on myself because I'm still learning and I'm still kind of a beginner, and some things work brilliantly first time, depending how I hold my mouth, and other things just have lots of fails until I achieve it, like the first Yoda I made, casting a little model of Yoda. So, what can I say, people? I'm enjoying it though. I was really excited and happy last evening playing with my little silver balls and putting them in the pickle and taking them out, filing the bit of crud that was still on them down, and going out and making them. And it's like playing. It's playful and creative and a bit exciting. Right, anyway, on that note, we'll carry on with reading W.B. Yeats, who was creative in his own way, being a fabulous, famous poet. And on we go, people of Earth. So this poem is from his book of poetry called Responsibilities. Introductory rhymes. Pardon, our old fathers, if you still remain somewhere in earshot for the story's end, old Dublin merchant, free of the 10 and 4, or trading out of Galway into Spain, old country scholar, Robert Emmet's friend, 100-year-old memory to the poor, merchant and scholar who have left me blood that has not passed through any huckster's loin, soldiers that gave whatever die was cast, a Butler or an Armstrong that withstood beside the brackish waters of the Boyne, James and his Irish when the Dutchman crossed, old merchant skipper that leaped overboard after a ragged hat in Biscay Bay. You, most of all, silent and fierce old man, because the daily spectacle that stirred my fancy and set my boyish lips to say only the wasteful virtues and the sun. Pardon that for a barren passion's sake, although I have come close on 49. I have no child. I have nothing but a book, nothing but that to prove your blood and mine. January 1914. The Grey Rock. Poets with whom I learned my trade, companions of the Cheshire cheese. Here's an old story I've remade, imagining 'twould better please your ears than stories now in fashion, though you may think I waste my breath pretending that there can be passion. It has more life in it than death. And though at bottling of your wine old wholesome Goban had no say, the moral's yours because it's mine. When cups went round at close of day, is not that how good stories run? The gods were sitting at the board in their great house at Slevenon. They